Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching ECLECTICKA. I am Seven. We have Drew and we have Charles. How you guys doing today?
Very well.
I'm fired up. I'm fired up, guys. I'm fired up. We'll say at the end of the show.
Just to give you guys a preface on how hyped and charged we are today.
Yeah.
We started a little late because we were going off on how thoroughly unimpressed, I guess we could say we are, with Lemonade. But Fem Spot Girls, you don't know me, I don't know you. I'm not impressed. When you want to debate about it, I'm right here. But at any rate.
All right, now back to business.
Coming on the show, y'all.
Yeah.
This week.
Clash of the Titans.
Yes,
all right.
Yes. So let's start off maybe at the start. What do we got video game wise, Charles? We were talking about Gears of War 4.
Yes, Gears of War 4. Okay. Played the beta, and I do want to say, when I saw the trailer for the game, we discussed it before the show, I got a little choked up, man. The trailer is...
It's a great trailer.
Yeah, the trailer...
Phenomenal trailer.
Yeah, even if you're not a Gears fan, that trailer will get you hooked in big time. Excellent trailer, probably one of the best that I've seen. Playing a multiplayer, though, was not impressed. Again, I think there's minor things. Hopefully they fix those things in the game. Some being the spawning. I was getting spawn raped like crazy. Some of the special weapons, they spawn in the same place every time. And if you're new to the game and you have no idea where these weapons spawn, you're going to be in for a very tough time. Mm-hmm. I found out that the assault rifle, one of the main weapons in the game, is useless. Killing someone,
right?
Long range, that thing is close to impossible. Yes. Mid-range shots, most of your kills are going to come from a shotgun. You know what I mean? So it's like a shotgun-based game. They need to fix that. Maps look good. Characters could look a little bit better, but I think they'll fix that for the final game. And one other thing that was a big problem too was you could be shooting at somebody and they're constantly just coming straight forward. You could bury a clip in them and they're just moving forward. There's no, you can't really stop them. So I don't know. There's just minor things. Hopefully they fix the game. I hope that they do. Again, minor little things that are sort of holding it back, but I don't know.
And from what I've seen, I mean, the footage that I saw of the beta and of the trailer, first off, the trailer was phenomenal. Like, second of all, I'm not a diehard Gears guy, but I do see, compared to the first ones, what they've tweaked, what they've changed. It looks good. The maps are good. The character designs, I don't have a problem with them because the Gears characters have always been naturally just bulky and overly brolic and box-shaped. So I know that's like their kind of staple look, so I'm not tripping on that too hard. When it comes to the weapons, it looks pretty standard. And from what I could see, just from like my previous experiences playing the earlier ones, a little bit that I did play rather, the chainsaw setup on your gun, I feel like the bulk of your kills came from that any damn way.
It's not as quick as it used to be either, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quicker to pull out the shotgun before you hit that B button, whatever button you have it on your controller, and that thing will come out quicker. It's a little bit slower.
Yeah, I always felt like that thing, the actual firearms that you did use, just from my own vantage, I feel like that was just more, if not a smoke screen, than a way for you to like kind of bridge the gap between yourself and your opponent so you could get them with the chainsaw at the end.
And I think that is the issue with the game. It's like long range and mid range battles are almost non-existent. I mean, you're not, like I said, most of my kills were up close, and it's like up close and personal combat. So you're going to either, chainsaw them, you're going to take in shotgun them to death, and you spend a lot of time up close diving back and forth and all that type of stuff.
The John Woo dive all over the map,
the John Woo dive.
Oh, it's fun, dude. No, that's the funnest part of that. That's why in Mass Effect, man, it was such a well-rounded machine because you had the long distance, you had the long range, you had some pretty good close range, but on top of that, you had the team up attached with your other characters.
Yeah.
So if you had your big dude, right, Rex, you had Rex and like your blue chick up in there, dude. You had one that was like that was a Telek. You could sit up there, lift somebody up, dude would run in, bridge that gap for you, and just bam, just like steamroll, and then you can keep pushing.
Out off guard. Like that. As far as again. Getting flanked, you think you're safe, all of a sudden you're getting freaking clubbed in the head. One thing I do like, though, their cover. Now, if you're behind a barrier, you have another person in front of you, you can actually reach over and snatch them over, which is pretty cool. I do like that. So, I mean, it has some good elements, but I definitely think they gotta fix these minor little ticks in it in order for it to be over the top. And definitely, guys, I think make better use out of the assault rifle. There's no sense of having that thing in the game if all it is a pellet gun. If you can't put anything down with it, there's no sense in having it. Just have pistols and shotguns and call it a day.
I think the issues that you have, I think, are fixable. But like we were saying, I hope they do put the effort in, and whatever grievances that you do have with it, that they fix, because they're fixable problems, mind you. There's nothing major, but it's the issue of, okay, it works. We know we don't have any major glitches, so let's just hurry up and get this cash and just release the game as is, which is what some companies will do sometimes. So
the cover system too. I'm sorry, I keep bringing that stuff. I was getting hung up on a lot of stuff, diving in and out of cover. It's not as, it needs to be smoothed out.
Okay, all right. We'll see though, because it is early. They can still tweak stuff. I'm sure some problems will get solved and others will probably stay there. But yeah, speaking of problems, transitioning from there.
Hold on 1 second. We got one more big announcement for video games. One more.
What's up?
They got another Call of Duty coming out. Call of Duty Infinite War. Hold on a second. This is awesome though. I'm going to tell you why. Someone's listening to what we're saying. We've been talking about the whole, you know how I feel about DLC. I'm not big on DLC. I don't want to bring up names, but here's this popular YouTube channel. All of a sudden put up a video about supply drops in micro DLC and how, you get them when you first get them, and then after a while how they lose their value and things like that, how they really, it's basically just like a bait, hook, and sinker. You know what I mean? They bait you when you buy the stuff, then the stuff has really no value as the game goes on. All right. So I'm thinking, are they listening to what we're saying? Because these are some of the fanboys. You know, the fanboys of the game where the company will call them up, give them free copies of the game. They play it. They really don't have anything bad to say, but even though the game has a bunch of problems, they kind of run the long scenic way around giving their comments, or they get to go to the company and play the game for free. All of a sudden now they're coming out and saying the same stuff that we've been saying on these, on the show for I don't know how long. So I don't know. Call of Duty comes out every year. My thing is, it's sort of like John Madden football. Do they have to come out with a game every year? No. Can they give you some free downloads and, and upgrades for free? I believe they can to put out the longevity of the game. Now, if you look at the original Counter-Strike, guys are still playing that. You understand what I'm trying to say? So they can make a game last longer, but it's all about the money. It's a cash grab every year. It's ridiculous.
It's a problem, man. They gotta fix that. But again, Call of Duty, thoroughly don't care.
I mean, I'm a Call of Duty fan.
I'm sorry. I know.
But it's like they have to take better care of the gamers, man. You don't need a new game every year. Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. I don't know.
Oh, makes no sense, man.
So there we go.
That's what we're gonna say.
On Twitch, they got the premiere, I guess, like the video and teaser, the full video, the teaser trailer and all that stuff. 10:30 Pacific time, I believe it's 10:30. Check it out on Twitch. They got to be advertising for it right now. So.
That'll be all right.
Yeah.
All right. So, moving on, we got some. This is movie news. This is film, comic book movie news. Warner Brothers, man, something's going on. I don't know if this is like sparking some sort of exodus with this whole Batman versus Superman debacle, but Seth Graham Smith, I believe his name is. He's a film director. He did Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter thing. You guys remember that movie from a few years back?
Yeah.
Not one of my favorites at all, but stylistically it was okay, and the concept was funny, if nothing else. He was originally on board to direct Warner Brothers' The Flash, the live-action version of that film. He is no longer on the project. And the cited reason currently is because of quote-unquote creative differences with him in the studio. Yes. The three of us, we were kind of joking fun about it because, like, when you have creative differences, in the case of the lady who was originally supposed to direct the Black Panther movie, you hear bits and pieces of what happened during that meeting. her issue was allegedly that they're trying to convey Wakanda as an advanced African culture, yet you still have people that are living in mud huts. So it's like
That's
the idea of just you outright insulting your audience and not being true to the source material.
Yeah.
And you don't know what went down in that meeting with Smith and the people over at Warner Brothers, but regardless, he's no longer on the project, and there's a rumor circulating around in Hollywood right now that James Wan, he's the Fast and the Furious guy who's supposed to be doing the Aquaman movie, he might be leaving now as well. So does this mark like the beginning of the DC Cinematic Universe imploding? Maybe.
I don't know. You think, because you did say something sort of like with the Superman Batman, do you think DC is sort of feeling the heat from Marvel and trying to up their writing to compete with Marvel's movies now?
It's possible, but like at the same time, when you say creative differences, okay, this is just, as I'm reading the article, I'm picturing what the vision of the studios would be versus what the director would be. It might be a case of they have a map, a pre-existing map that's been designed by Zack Snyder, who I've voiced my grievance with at length. Seven, you were there.
Yep.
During my little 50-plus minute rant about the Batman vs. Superman movie. He has this pre-existing map for the DC Cinematic Universe. Parts of it, I'm thinking, really don't work to the degree where you have these directors now looking at the backlash from Batman vs. Superman, and they're just like, what the F, you know? And it's to the point where they're just like, I'd rather not do it because what you have here doesn't work. I can see that. They're trying to catch. So you answer your question, you're right. I think they're trying to catch up. I don't know if it's like a rush to try to fix what's been done because they're already filming Justice League as we speak. They're in London right now. So whatever's in the works is going to be in the works. That's what we're going to get. I don't know. We'll see. As of right now, it's only they lost one director. So who knows if anything else is like relevant. But yeah.
See, my issue with this whole, I think I said this before, like with creative differences, if you're going to make a movie, right, we'll just use Spider-Man as a generic character. We all know the history of Spider-Man. So if I was going to direct a movie, the stuff is already written. What do I really have to come in and change? You understand what I'm trying to say? That's where I run into problems. I'm like, I'm not going to come in and reinvent the wheel. The story is written. All I have to do is take what's on the pages. You might have to do a little adaptation, but I just have to take what's on those pages and put it on the screen. So that's what I'm saying with these directors. Some of them want to come in and just rewrite everything, and then they wonder why the movies implode.
Well, see, the thing about that, though, is there has to be a check to that, because when you're just taking bits and pieces from the comic books and splashing them onto a script page and then trying to adapt that into a movie, it could just as easily fall apart as anything else. And I can't blame a filmmaker for wanting to take a pre-existing idea and make their own vision of it into it. That's just what film is. That's what we do. We see something cool that we like, that impacts us, that impels us to create, and then we just go with it. So I'm fine with that, but it's the idea that it's not coherent and it's like I've said this before, guys. I hate repeating myself. I'm sorry for doing that, but it's like it's what DC does. It's a knee-jerk reaction to Marvel. Because Marvel, they've done exactly what you said, Charles. They've taken existing material and it's just like, okay, we'll just take this, adapt it to that, tweak little things here, add in maybe a little exposition here because people that don't read comics, they do exist, and we do have to take them into consideration when they buy their ticket. But it's like still loyal. You know, they were able to do that with Daredevil. And Daredevil is really, I feel like, if not a perfect beast, damn close to it. Because they had so many Easter eggs in the film. Beg your pardon?
Serious?
No, the Ben Affleck movie.
Okay.
I'm joking. No,
because I thought I'm saying the Netflix series is way better than the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like when it comes to the Netflix series, I was totally just being facetious, but when it comes to the Ben Affleck movie, was absolute trash.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
But it's like they had so many cool Easter eggs, and they had their own thing. They had their own beats. They went about the pace, the procedural stuff that you would see over the course of a season of a television show, and it was phenomenal. It was great. And like John Bernthal's performance as Punisher this last season was so stellar. It was like its own separate entity within the show, but it added like so many different like things to it. Him just being there. And that's what you need. If you're going to have these characters, you're going to have multiple characters occupying the same film. They have to be their own beast. And I think like Graham's issue with that might be, this is just me speculating, they might be trying to do too much of the same thing. They're trying to make everything, quote unquote, my two hated words I hear the most, dark and gritty and dark. And they're trying to do that with The Flash. They're trying to do that with Shazam. They're trying to do that with Wonder Woman. They're trying to do that with Cyborg. You can't have the same tone for each character.
Let the characters be themselves, you know, and they're not. That's what I'm trying to say is when you have it written down, use what is written. And they come in, everyone, again, has to be dark and gritty. Everyone's not dark and gritty.
Exactly.
That's where they're running damn problems, man.
Exactly. I'm telling you, when we start to see the posters come out for Wonder Woman and The Flash, if I see them in a dark landscape with their heads down in the contemplative pose in the rain looking sad, like how they did Batman and Superman, who was the polar opposite of that, I'm going to be like, you guys just don't get it. Marvel gets their characters. You guys just don't get it. You're taking Nolan's formula and trying to apply it to The Flash, Green Lantern, Shazam, who's a little kid. Like, get real. Come on. Shazam, the 10-year-old kid who turns into it's like, stop that shit. It doesn't work.
And that's the issue that I have when you get these directors coming in and trying to reshine something, man. Again, you can take and you can change minor little things, but when you're trying to make a character into something it's not, then you see what happens. And again,
very easily
still a harsh reality of that, man.
Yeah. But transitioning from that to Netflix and Marvel news, since we were talking about them already, official, The Punisher's getting his own series. John Bernthal played it so hard this season that Netflix is just like, yeah, give him his own show. And parts of that, partially I'm excited, but another part, like how we were saying before, Charles, is you said it greatly yourself. Like, not every character needs his or her own show.
Right.
Like, you can't have Squirrel Girl have her own show. So, like, right? I mean, it might be funny, but like, it doesn't, not everyone can be a leader. Not everyone can be the star of their own thing. When it comes to The Punisher, with what they did with Bernthal, and I'll shut up and assume because I know I'm talking entirely too much.
Keep rolling.
But when it comes to Bernthal and his performance, it was great what we got in season 2 of Daredevil. I hope they don't try to just like force more of that over the course of 12, 13 episodes with his own show, because I can't take him just being sad and shooting people over the course of the series. I'm depressed. I'm angry. Flashback to when he was in the war. So I just, no, that'll get over real quick. He's a great actor. There are some really good Punisher yarns, especially when it comes to, what's his name, Garth Ennis. Some of the most messed up, bloody, brutal, gory Punisher stories came from that guy. So if they do that, keep him in mind.
Drew, I have a question before we go. Okay. We got a little bit of time left, but if you've checked out Flash last couple episodes, if you've also know for the last couple seasons, Arrow has always, somewhere in the story, somewhere in the script, it always ended up with, oh, it's all my fault. Oh, it's all my fault. Oh, and I'm just tired of them going back to this whole, like, I'm going to take the burden of everything that's happened and make it my own fault. Am I the only one that's, like, frustrated with that little...
You're talking about with the case of Oliver Queen, right, and how his character just is written, typically? How he's just so overly self-righteous, like, he has to bear the burden. He needs to let that go, man. Luckily, they've tried to, like,
but they've done it with
Flash, share some of the blame with the other characters.
Okay.
Flash, and when it comes to them, they have the same kind of problem, I feel, as characters where they're too righteous. And it's just like their biggest flaw is, they even say this in the show, and it's ridiculous. Their biggest flaw is that they care too much. Really? They're too good. That's what we're working with.
Come on, guys. Right, man.
Yeah, yeah, right.
It's like a common. It's a formula, and they're going to take and write what they think people are going to feel. I mean,
People can't relate to that. Come on, it's like give them actual flaws.
But they must think that because it's like it runs parallel to all the characters, man. So the writers must think, instead of, again, letting every character be its own individual.
Yeah. But
and they don't want to do it.
People can't relate to just being too good and caring too much about people. I'm like, dude, people suck. When you try to sit up there, and have relatable characters and have them have real conversations that you're just like, I can see where he or she is coming from. You just care. How often have you guys heard that in a conversation? You're just too good, man. You just care too much about everyone, and that's why you try to take the bird. Shut up with that.
Now,
let someone be like you say, Charles. But if you're going to take the material that exists already, an excellent plot yarn for I think a series would be if you had Floyd Lawton, Deadshot. His whole thing was he was just like a rageaholic, and when he came back from the war, he was so messed up that he beat his wife to death. You want to shock people with flaws? Have at it.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in reality when it comes to writing. If you're going to write, you write real stuff people can believe. But Hollywood's not like that, man. They're not like that. And when it's almost to the point, if you're going to have someone in a commanding role, what I noticed, again, they always, like you said, they want to have them care way entirely too much, as far as I'm concerned, which is not reality. It's not. Yeah. But
it's not. Even with Marvel, Marvel's guilty of this too, because I don't want to just be all an Arrow, because I do like The Flash and Arrow, and I definitely love Legends of Tomorrow. Marvel's guilty of doing that too, but like when it comes to, let's say for example, Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson's iteration of it. His biggest real flaw when you get down to it is that he lies entirely too much. And it's like it gets downplayed to who he is. It's like if you weren't really wanted to take him there and give him some layers and make him seem like a potentially scary dude, show what happens during some of these experiments that Sheila's gotten into. Show him doing some really messed up stuff where you have people getting killed by the fistful. That would scare.
Didn't Stark call him out in one of the movies about him and his lies? You know what I mean? Like, you can't.
They did. But that's like the thing. We hear about it. Yeah, we hear about his flaws, but we don't really see it. And the Winter Soldier, you saw the results of it, so I can't really be like too hard on it. You saw that what he was trying to do, but he was against it when it came to the program that they were trying to initiate. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They had the whole thing set up. They had people under monitor. So you saw the results of that, but I want like the good, messed up stuff. I'm talking about experimentation, where he's yapping MFs for like information. He's screwing people over. I would love it if you came and found out that there was some SHIELD agent that got left in Hydra's hands and was brutally tortured for years, and Nick Fury was just like, nah, we got to leave him because he won't spill, for one, and two, we don't have the time nor resources to get him back. Yep. That would have been freaking phenomenal. So they can go there. I don't know. I'm really hyped like that Civil War is about to come out. I just hope
it comes out
don't.
This week, right? This week.
It's this week, yeah. It's coming, guys. It's already out in Europe, and other places, and across the board. Everybody that I know, like overseas, who's seen it, said that it was great. They said that Spider-Man is a decent fit, and I guess that's about as good as we can hope for, considering the fact he's babyface Spider-Man. And I'm excited.
Gerber baby, man. He's a Gerber baby.
Yeah, Gerber baby. And we'll see, man. It's going to be an interesting week. It's going to be an interesting year, I feel, when it comes to a lot of these film franchises, because I realize not everyone's going to make it out now. Warner Brothers is really in a tough spot. And when it comes to Marvel, they're picking up speed, but I think this is going to be their peak. After this next wave of movies that they have, it's like, what do you do from here? And we're going to start to see some gradually, crappier and crappier films, and when's going to be the cutoff for people?
Right.
So, I don't know, man. We have some interesting stuff on it, but I'm going to be there for it all. We're going to bring it to you guys here on Eclecticka. You're going to hear every nook and cranny in detail about it, so don't worry. We got you guys covered.
Oh, one other thing before we go. I was talking with some people, and they were discussing, we're talking about Deadpool, and they were talking about Deadpool being like the first rated R comic book movie. And I was like, no, it wasn't the first rated R movie. Now, I always say this to people, and this movie, to me, kicked off the majority. I think it did kick off most of the Marvel movies. Blade was rated R. The original Blade was rated R.
Yeah.
It came out in like 2000 or something. Came out before Spider-Man, and they took a character that was not popular and made a pretty darn good movie out of it. Blade has some of the best fight scenes, I still think, today. They had some really... Snipes bought it with those fight scenes in Blade. And then you have Watchmen that was rated R. So for people that are listening, Deadpool was not the first rated R.
It wasn't. If you want to get technical, you can say that Deadpool was the first critically successful superhero film that was rated R. But at the same time, that's also not true because Blade, they got 2 more sequels out of the first one.
Yeah, they made decent money for back then out of that movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Watchmen was reviewed really well. It just wasn't like a box office smash hit, and that's why they consider that a critical failure. It wasn't a bad movie at all. It was great.
Oh, I think if Watchmen came out now, it would make more money because people would know. People didn't know who Watchmen, they didn't know who they were. They didn't know. They didn't know they were in like comics and stuff like that. That's one of those movies.
Yeah. Everyone's on the superhero testicles right now, so it's just like, all right, it's gonna win regardless because there's superheroes attached to it. But